Good evening, good evening, good evening again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center does not want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, folks, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually sees through with their threats. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to go ahead and utilize those headphones. Trigger warning number 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised, all right? All right, folks, so back to where we left off. In another instance, the comic criticizes FDA for using a double standard when presenting and evaluating data by quoting an expert in a media report who explained that an individual went into a catatonic condition after an ESD was used on him. This is in reference to Andre McCollins. To say that you are using a double standard by quoting a medical professional who treated an individual after said shocks is batshit insane. Which means the JRC doesn't like it when you go out there reporting facts. Tough tits, honey. Nobody cares about your feelings, especially you all. Okay? How do you even argue that a medical expert who had actually treated Andre McCollins after that horrific video and listening to what happened to him, as well as reviewing the medical records from the other folks, the treatment team that was taking care of them, and saying it's a double standard? Why? Because it doesn't agree with you, JRC? Is that it? However, this is one of multiple sources the FDA relied on for this risk. Folks, we're talking DESI reports from 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Okay? We're not just talking about the situation with Andre McCollins. We're talking about the second and third degree burns reported by ER documents. Okay? We're talking about hospitals reporting where there was not an unbruised piece of skin that the doctor was able to find while examining them. Therefore, the JRC being ordered to remove said device for up to 2 to 3 weeks so that said student was allowed to heal. Okay? Good God, the evidence from multiple sources, from multiple students, and their actual medical records that back them up When I say our receipts have receipts, you know, we explained that catatonia may be an additional risk based on scientific literature that describes catatonic sit-down associated with the use of ESDs, and statements and comments from individuals on whom ESDs have been used, their family members, disability rights groups, and others. I noticed that they glaringly leave out the service providers that were also there and testified, because every single piece of propaganda that JRC puts out to defend themselves always comes after us. It always leaves out ARC. It leaves out Easter seals. It leaves out two of the largest and oldest service providers for individuals with both physical and developmental disabilities in the country. Okay? It's not just leaving that out in this sentence here. It's leaving out the medical professionals, ER doctors and nurse practitioners. It is leaving out, well, a lot of people, isn't it? And this is the crap that the JRC uses to point the fingers at us. And I've explained to you before why they do this. They are banking on the systemic ableism that our country and the world is filled with. You can't listen to them. They're disabled. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not like you and me. They don't understand. And sadly, there are people who buy that shit. Okay? That's why they do it. But let's finish up, shall we? Because the statement appeared in a media report, we did not accord it the same weight as the information in the scientific literature. In other words, with the same, you remember JD versus AH. Oh, it's the social media. The jury was moved by social media. Same shit, different case. How many times have I said how that case reminded me of this one? This is one of those reasons. The same gaslighting bullshit. When I tell you I've seen it all before when I was defending JD, here's my exhibit A. Okay? Yeah. The fact of the matter is, though they took that comment into consideration, what they put more weight behind was the actual ER medical records in which that catatonic state had been recorded by the treatment team that was overseeing Andre McCollin's case after he'd been rushed out of the JRC by his mother after that incident that we all know all too well from YouTube. Okay? To back up those medical records are the medical records of multiple other students who have come forward and their parents. All right? To sit there and say, but it's the media. It's the same gaslighting bullshit we are all too familiar with. All right? God, I'm tired and old. All right, folks. So it's very easy to see what the commenter is doing here, isn't it? Because it's the same crap they tried with JD and are actually still trying almost 2 goddamn years later. The JRC does the exact same gaslighting nonsense. They blame the media. The media is obviously biased against the JRC. They're actually not. There is a deafening silence from the media that's been going on since 2012. We may get the random article here and there, but no big reports or exposés in regards to what the JRC gets up to since 2012. That is a fact. But they'll gaslight you. And just like with JD versus AH, you're going to have people who just believe it. We're going to close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. Before we close out, I wanted to make another point because something that the JRC does is exactly the same thing that AH and her little turdlets do. The JRC blames us, the advocates, the folks who stand 10 toes down behind Andre McCollins, Jennifer Masemba, and all the other children they have tortured and brutalized. And name us in the primary seat as the people who are leading the world astray and helping us to basically, I don't know, what is it that they think we do? Seriously. Okay. We have just very recently been started to be taken seriously by anyone at all. But remember, it's you guys, it's your social media. It's just, you're just 100% against us, and you don't want to hear anything different. And you're just doing a smear campaign against the JRC. Dude, what makes you think I have the time? I make the time because you brutalize children. Children like I was a child. Many other survivors who maybe necessarily didn't go to a hellhole like this, but we certainly know what it's like to be abused, gaslighted into oblivion, and not believed because of our disability. Okay? We fight so that other generations don't have to go through what these survivors did, what we did. Okay? Same thing with all the survivors, like myself, that backed JD. When I tell you it's the same fight and that the same tactics are being used, it's all the social media supporters and it's the media. This is what I mean when I said I've seen it all before because of the JRC. Yeah. Now we'll close out. I'll see you all next time, folks. Bye-bye.